Hey guys, yeah, first video of the year. I decided to make a video based for the whole Leelah Alcorn thing, because I feel like I need to kind of get this off my chest. Alright, so for those of you who don't know who Leelah Alcorn is, this is Leelah, or according to her parents, Josh. Alright, so for those of you who haven't heard, Leelah Alcorn this past Sunday had died by suicide, and I know, and for those of you who have heard about her whole suicide thing, sorry, I have to plug my phone in. Anyway, so, who heard about her whole suicide thing, yeah, she died in a car accident, but she intended for that to happen because, yeah, she was, alright, well, so, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna try and read this, this cache, however you say that word, one that, since her actual Tumblr was deleted. Anyway, so this was her suicide note that she posted on Tumblr before she died in that car accident. Alright. And if I stop, I'm sorry. It's because I just need a minute to stop myself before I end up getting angry. Alright. Alright. If I end up crying, I'm sorry, but I've read this a couple times, and it kind of got me crying. So, yeah, I'm sorry if I end up crying. It takes a lot. It has to take so much to make me cry. Alright. If you're reading this, it means alright, I'm going to correct what she wrote with committed suicide into what I'm about to say. If you're reading this, it means that I have died by suicide, and obviously failed to delete this post from my queue. I think that's how you say that word. Please don't be sad, it's for the better. The life I would have lived isn't worth living in because I'm transgender. I could go into detail explaining why I feel that way, but this note is probably going to be lengthy enough as it is. To put it simply, I feel like a girl trapped in a boy's body, and I felt that way ever since I was 4. I never knew there was a word for that feeling, nor was it possible for a boy to become a girl. So I never told anyone, and I just continued to do traditionally boyish things to try to fit in. When I was 14, I learned what transgender meant and cried of happiness. After 10 years of confusion, I finally understood who I was. I immediately told my mom, and she reacted extremely negatively, telling me that it was a phase, I would never truly be a girl, and that God doesn't make sense, that I am wrong. Where am I? If you're reading this, parents, please don't tell this to your kids. Even if you're a Christian or against transgender people, don't ever say that to someone, especially your kid. That won't do anything but make them hate themselves. That's exactly what it did to me. My mom started taking me to a therapist, but would only take me to Christian therapists, who were all very biased, so I never actually got the therapy I needed to cure me of my depression. I only got more Christians telling me that I was selfish and wrong, and that I should look to God for help. Where am I? When I was 16, I realized that my parents would never come around and that I would have to wait until I was 18 to start any sort of transitioning any transitioning treatment. Which absolutely broke my heart. The longer you wait, the harder it is to transition. I felt hopeless that I was going to look like a man in drag for the rest of my life. On my 16th birthday, when I didn't receive consent from my parents to start transitioning, I cried myself to sleep. I formed a sort of fuck you attitude towards my parents and came out as gay at school. Thinking that maybe if I eased into coming out as trans, it would be less of a shock. Although the reaction from my friends was positive, my parents were pissed. They felt like I was attacking their image and that I was an embarrassment to them. They wanted me to be their perfect little straight Christian boy, and that's obviously not what I wanted. So they took me out of public school, took away my laptop and phone, and forbid me of getting on any sort of social media, completely isolating me from my friends. This was probably the part of my life when I was the most depressed, and I'm surprised I didn't kill myself. I was completely alone for 5 months. No friends, no support, no love. Where am I? Just my parents' disappointment and the cruelty of loneliness. At the end of the school year, my parents finally came around and gave me my phone and let me back on social media. I was excited. I finally had my friends back. They were extremely excited to see me and talk to me, but only at first. Eventually, they realized they didn't actually give a shit about me, and I felt even lonelier than I did before. The only friends that I thought I had only liked me because they saw me 5 times a week. After a summer of having almost no friends, plus the weight of having to think about college, save money for moving out, keep my grades up, go to church each week, and feel like shit because everyone there is against everything I live for. Where am I? Sorry, I do this, so I lose my place. I've decided I've had enough. I'm never going to transition successfully, even when I move out. I'm never going to be happy with the way I look or sound. I'm never going to have enough friends to satisfy me. I'm never going to have enough love to satisfy me. I'm never going to find a man who loves me. I'm never going to be happy. Either I live the rest of my life as a lonely man who wishes he were a woman, or I live my life as a lonelier woman who hates herself. There's no winning, there's no way out. I'm sad enough already. I don't need my life to get any worse. People say it gets better, but that isn't true in my case. It gets worse. Each day I get worse. That's the gist of it. That's why I feel like killing myself. Sorry if that's not a good enough reason for you. It's good enough for me. As for my will, I want 100% of the things that I legally own to be sold in the money, plus my money in the bank, to be given to trans civil rights movements and support groups. I don't give a shit which one. The only way I will rest in peace is if one day transgender people aren't treated the way I was. They're treated like humans with valid feelings and human rights. Gender needs to be taught in schools. The earlier the better. My death needs to mean something. My death needs to be counted in the number of transgender people who died by suicide this year. I want someone to look at that number and say that's fucked up and fix it. Fix society, please. Goodbye, Leelah Alcorn. Yeah. I mean, seriously, this kind of... Alright. I want to ask one thing of the audience, anybody who's watching. If any of you know Leelah Alcorn's parents, if at least one person who's watching this video knows Leelah Alcorn's parents, whether it's her mother or her father, or both, I want that one person who knows both one or both her parents personally to send this video to them, and so that they can at least hear that it's not okay to freaking be your child's bully. Because it's not. It's not okay to be your child's first bully. I mean, seriously. It's just simply not. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get some music to listen to. Alright, Alright. And honestly, Leelah Alcorn's parents, if you're watching this, it's not okay to be your child's first bully. Because honestly, being your child's first bully ruins your kid's self-esteem. If you can't accept that your kid was a transgender, maybe you shouldn't have had a kid in the first place. Because you need to be fully mentally ready for whatever comes your way from your kid. If you can't be fully prepared for whatever situation it is that your kid is in, you need to accept that your kid isn't going to be what you expect them to be. If your kid were... I mean, seriously. If you weren't ready... If you can't accept that your kid was transgender, you seriously shouldn't have had a kid in the first place. Because you need to be able to be mentally prepared to... If your kid were to wind up were born with a disability, or any disorder, or whatever their gender identity may be, even if it's not the gender that you want them to identify as, you need to be prepared for that. You also need to be prepared for if they're not straight. I mean, seriously, your kid is your first priority, Mr. and Mrs. Alcorn, if you're watching this video. Not what other people think. I mean, seriously, you don't have to agree with it, but your kid needs to be your first priority. I mean, seriously, it's not okay that you were your child's bully. I mean, seriously, this kind of thing pisses me off. Because honestly, parents need to be their child's first best friend. Or best friends. Not their bully. This kind of thing seriously pisses me off. Because honestly, why even have a kid if you're not going to be fully mentally prepared for anything? I mean, seriously, you need to be a parent first. Parent first. Anything else second. And honestly, why even be a parent if you're not even going to be prepared? If you weren't even going to be prepared for the fact that your kid was transgender. Yeah. Because honestly, your kid needs to be able to go to his parents about anything. And not have his parents beat him up about him or her. Or whatever they identify as. I mean, seriously, a kid should be able to go to their parents to tell them about anything that happens to them. I mean, seriously, a kid needs to be able to trust his parents and trust that his parents won't be his first or her first bully, or whatever they identify as. And if all you're gonna be is a bully to your kid, then maybe you shouldn't have been a parent in the first place.
Now,
promise me no bad dreams.
the holidays may be ending, but the haunting is just beginning.
I think I saw someone.
Alright. Sorry. A candle for Leelah Alcorn. And even any other trans person who, or anybody of the LGBT community who has died by suicide. Because honestly, this kind of thing is not okay. Because honestly, parents shouldn't be the kid's first bully. A parent needs to be accepting of their kid no matter what. Because if all you're going to be is your child's first bully, then that's not okay. So yeah. Instead of being your child's first bully, be your child's first best friend. Because a child needs to be accepted by their parents, not everything that you and Leelah Alcorn's parents, if you're watching this, instead of having been your child's first bully, you should have been your child's first best friends. Because honestly, this kind of thing is not okay. Because honestly, why even have a kid, Leelah Alcorn's parents, if you're not going to even be fully prepared that your kid was transgender? I mean, seriously, I don't get why parents want to have kids and yet not be fully prepared to have a kid who is not what they would expect. I mean, seriously, this kind of thing pisses me off and makes me want to fucking cry. Or even just simply punch the person in the face for this. I mean, seriously, if you're not going to accept your kid, don't have a kid. It's better to be accepting of your kid for who they are than to not accept that your kid is different. So yeah. And honestly, if I had known Leelah personally, I would have definitely been there for her. Not him, not Josh. I would have been there for her, for Leelah. Because honestly, I kind of understand how it feels to be transgender and to not feel that accepted. Mostly, like in my situation, mostly self-acceptance. But still, instead of being your child's first bully, be your child's first friend. First best friend. Because that's all a kid needs. Alright. So yeah, if anyone knows Leelah's parents personally, I want that person to send this video to them, to Leelah's parents. Bye guys.